Hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to a new show from the EKN Radio Network. We are recording the EKN OutLap, episode 73. It is June 11th, 2024, nearly halfway through the 6th month of the season. So basically about the halfway point of the 2024 karting season here in the United States and around the world. Again, our OutLap podcast is the preview podcast for our upcoming EKN Trackside live event. We'll preview the race, the teams, the drivers competing, and the current point standings, along with any special stories surrounding the event. This show is presented by Skip Barber Racing School. Are you looking for the next step in racing? Go from karts to cars with the Skip Barber Racing School. Skip Barber alumni are champions in every motorsport series, including Formula One, NASCAR, IMSA, and IndyCar. Get behind the wheel of a Skip Barber Formula 4 car featuring a 160 horsepower turbocharged engine. Our highly structured and competitive Skip Barber Formula Race Series is the perfect platform to start your racing career, so you can fulfill your dream of becoming a champion. With equalized race cars and a focus on driver development, your driving skills will determine if you end up in victory lane. Learn more about the Skip Barber Racing School at skipbarber.com or call 866-932-1949. Nate Dean joining me here in the EKN Radio Network studio as we are previewing the 2024 Superkarts USA Pro Tour SpringNationals, heading to the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati for the first time this weekend, June 14th through the 16th. Nate, it's certainly going to be an interesting event, with this being the first time that Superkarts USA is visiting the MCC of Cincinnati, or I guess what do you call it, the club, like you like to call it?
Yeah, first time for obviously some drivers with this is their first time going to Cincinnati for Superkarts USA and the Pro Tour, of course. The United States Pro Kart Series, Stars Championship Series, and a couple other regional events have made the rounds here before, so it's not going to be entirely new to everyone in the paddock, but still it's going to be new for Superkarts USA Pro Tour competition, like we said, so a bit of an unknown going into this weekend.
Yeah, some will have a little bit of an unknown. Some will, as you said, have the background, the experience at this facility. Some even live at the facility itself in Batavia, Ohio. Again, the Superkarts USA going to be completing rounds 3 and 4 of the 6-round championship program for the semi-pro categories. This is going to be the second event for what is the pro show for the 2 pro categories of Superkarts USA. So that's going to be an exciting change as they make adjustments from the inaugural show back in Orlando this past winter months. So now we are, getting into the midway point of the 15th season of the Superkarts USA Pro Tour Championship, which began back in 2010. And Nate, one of the stories, it kind of has been every time there's an event at Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, is the weather. The forecast right now looking at the upper 80s on Friday and Saturday and low 90s on Sunday. So for us people in the north hemisphere of the country, this is probably going to be one of the hottest weekends we've had thus far this year.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be one of the hotter weekends we have all year with how the temperatures are looking, and not too fun, like you said, in the 80s and the 90s there, with it getting really, really hot on Sunday, getting into about 91, 92 degrees there, but about 30-degree changes from the morning to the afternoon when it gets hot. So could see some drivers be really quick in the qualifying and warm-up sessions and then fall off completely during the long race stint. So that's definitely something we'll be keeping an eye on once we get to MCC.
Yeah, the longer race laps for pro show is going to be, certainly weather could be a factor there, and how the tires react early and how you're going to be able to keep them under you throughout the long distance of the race with the heat intensifying. It'll be interesting to see kind of what track temperature will be throughout the weekend and how that increases, because that's really what the tuners and team owners and the race team managers kind of go off, is what is the track temperature. So that'll be interesting to see. Again, the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati is a 0.95 mile layout is on their national course, which goes in the counterclockwise direction. This facility was opened back in 2007, but just recently in 2020, the Bailiff family and their partners took over the facility, which is 16 turns, very technical, but has long straightaways. So that it's a very unique kind of back and forth in terms of 180 after 180 with long straightaways after it. So that's a unique part about it. But the racetrack was repaved and extended to this distance back in 2022. We were there last year for the United States Pro Kart Series. And I think, Nate, as you mentioned, Cup Karts North America and other programs have been at this facility. So it'll be good to see Superkarts USA flying their blue banners all weekend long here at the club. Nate, kind of give us a breakdown of the event schedule for the weekend.
Yeah, so Wednesday and Thursday have unofficial track run practice for those 2 days. Friday, you have 5 rounds of practice, the first 4 of those being 7 minutes each, and then the final one being 12 minutes. That is for all classes. Come Saturday, you will have warm-up, qualifying, and a pre-final. So pre-final being 10 laps and then 8 laps for cadets, and then finals 20 laps for everyone apart from, again, cadets, which will be shorted by 2 laps going to 18 laps. Come Saturday for the pros, you'll have warm-up, qualifying, heat 1 and a second heat 2. That'll be 12 laps. That's replacing the pre-final that we saw in Orlando. And then come Sunday for the non-pro, semi-pro classes. Yeah, again, warm-up, qualifying, pre-final, and final, same 2 lap structures as we saw on Saturday. And then for the pro show on Sunday, warm-up after lunch, and then a 25-lap main event.
Yeah, the pro show going to 2 heat races. That's the significant change from Orlando, as you mentioned. They're going to do 2 12-lap heat races, which essentially will count for what is a half a pre-final. With the championship format the way it is, they had pre-final final set up for the championship. So what they'll do is they'll take half the points for heat 1 and then half the points in heat 2 for those drivers in the pro categories. So it'll still make up a pre-final total, and they'll be able to continue with the championship chase that way. As I'm assuming they'll go with the same format heading into Newcastle. One of the issues is the timing. Something that was talked about with a lot of the junior drivers, the team owners and mechanics. There wasn't a lot of time between KA100 senior or junior and X30 junior to be able to pull off the full day's competition without a break. That was one of the main things. And then, as we heard, Nate, a lot of drivers were talking about not getting a lot of track time with the pro show. And so they're trying to find that even mix of, okay, we're trying to make the pro show different, and not give them the same amount of track time, but make them a little bit more important. So it's, Superkarts USA they're trying to find the happy medium, I think, between the pro show and the regular categories.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously with a new concept like the pro show there's going to be kinks to figure out, and good on Superkarts USA for seeing that there was a bit of an issue in Orlando and adjusting the schedule and addressing that instead of just going through the rest of the season and not willing to chat. So again, props to them for that. And yeah, excited to see what we have in this revitalized pro show format for MCC.
Yeah, it'll give the pro guys a little bit more racing on Saturday. They'll be able to go twice now for racing, wheel-to-wheel contact. Be able to sort out this facility, this racetrack with, I would say, about a majority of them never being here before. I think a lot of them were at their test weekend last weekend that the facility hosted. But there will be a handful of drivers who have been here before and know this racetrack very well. So it's going to be an interesting scenario throughout the weekend for the pro show categories. For right now, let's head into our first commercial break. And when we return, we'll get into By the Numbers.
Ready to step up your game? Joining the Rawlison Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, SuperNationals winners, and Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national-level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. We work with all age groups and are focused on developing those cadet and junior drivers who are ready to take the next step in their racing program. Rawlson Performance Group has set a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in IAME competition. We have the largest OTK inventory that follows our race team, providing trackside parts at all the major events in North America. RPG also offers multilingual support with French, Spanish, and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlson Performance Group. We race to win. It all started in 1994 when former successful kart driver Albino Parolin decided to move his passion for karting from the track to his small workshop. That's when Parolin was born. Fast forward 20 years and Parolin's passion for the sport led to the company rejoining international competitions as a factory team in WSK and CIK FIA races, with the aim of enhancing the research and development process, immediately achieving notable results around Europe, North America, and Asia, becoming the CIK FIA Asia Pacific KZ champion in the same year. Parolin USA is North America's source for Parolin products, and we run a factory team at all of the major Superkarts USA and Rock Cup USA events. The Parolin chassis lineup for 2021 includes the Invader Shifter, the Le Mans Tag single-speed chassis for junior and senior classes, and the 28mm mini kart for the cadet classes. Parolin has been winning races all over the world, and it's on top of the podium in the USA as well, with drivers like Kai Sorensen, Mateus Orjuela, and Alessandro De Tullio. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. For more information, head to ParolinUSA.com.
And we are back with the EKN OutLap, our preview podcast for the upcoming Superkarts USA Pro Tour Spring Nationals. I'm David Cole, joined by Nate Dean, as the show is presented by Skip Barber Racing School. We are now into our By the Numbers segment. And as we look to Orlando and going into this weekend, there's about a 50 entry difference between the Winter Nationals in Orlando and the upcoming Spring Nationals that we will have at the club. Just a little bit of a drop off from categories here to there, including the entire drop of the K100 Master category, which was run with the Master Shifter category in Orlando. So with the lack of entries in that category, they decided to drop it a couple weeks back. So that category will not be in competition this weekend. So we will have the two pro show categories along with K100 Senior, the two junior categories of X30 Junior and K100, Master Shifter, Mini Swift, and Micro Swift competing. So Nate, there's not really a big class that kind of stands out in terms of lack of numbers. K Senior maybe with a drop of 10 racers. Aside from that, it's about two or three that are kind of missing from what we saw in Orlando.
Yeah, like you said, it's a pretty even drop for most classes. I mean, with Micro, Mini, like you said, K100 Senior, all losing around 10 drivers, some what we saw in Orlando. So yeah, you have to think with Orlando and the amount of regional drivers that always support national and regional series whenever you go there, that obviously they're going to do very well for numbers. But yeah, I don't know if there's a real standout reason for the drop in entries. It's unfortunate to see, but obviously when we'll get into some of the presenting classes, when we start talking about that, the level of competition is surely still very, very high. So not having to worry about the racing too much, but unfortunate for the drop of entries.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the Florida bump. You'll get a number of entries that are Florida based only. So that helps out with the total numbers that we saw in Orlando. You look at K100 Master, I think a lot of them were Florida based. Master Shifter, some drivers were Florida based, in other categories. drivers are Florida based and they don't go anywhere else, or they routinely stick to just events that are held in Florida. So that's part of it. We're now into month 6 of the season. You have a lot of races that have taken place over the previous 6 months, dating back to the end of December with Daytona Kart Week and Cup Karts North America kicking off their 2024 season in December of 2023. A lot of regional programs have kicked up. You have Stars, Route 66. You also have USPKS running as well too now, and they'll have an event 2 weeks from now. So it could be an option of people are selecting which races they want to go. So that, and again, that's always part of it when we get into the midway point of championship chases, and some aren't even racing maybe because they are out of the championship. So that could be another factor as well. So again, drops, pretty similar across the board. The highest total we have is KA100 Junior. They're at 41 entries, Mini Swift at 34, and KA100 Senior at 30. The rest of the categories are in the 20s. Master Shifter got a bump up. They're up to 11. That's going to be a good category to watch on the weekend, as there's a number of different drivers in that division. X30 Junior just below 20 at 16. So even though we did see a big bump at USPKS for this category, not so many at the Superkarts USA event. But again, Nate, as you mentioned, local entries, and I think that has a lot to do with it. There were a lot of local drivers at the Mooresville racetrack for USPKS, where they're establishing a club at MCC, but a lot of those races are just in fact that they're club racers. There's not a lot of regional racers and 2-cycle racing here, so we'll have to we'll kind of keep an eye on it. I think we're going to get a bump up when we get back to Newcastle next month for the Summer Nationals, because again, Newcastle always gets that little bit of a bump for that. So anything else that stands out by the numbers as we wrap up this segment, Nate?
Not really. No, just a little bit weird to go to a Midwest race in the Midwest contingent. Not really seeing that boost in numbers, and maybe the Midwesterners did show up and other regions aren't particularly there. So that'll be a thing to see once we get into the paddock in Ohio. But yeah, unfortunate, but still, Superkarts USA Racing always puts on a show, so not too worried about it.
All right, and with that, we'll head into our next commercial break, and when we return, we'll get into Pro X30, Pro Shifter, and K100 Senior after these messages.
Fast, fair, and fun. Ignite Karting offers you all of that at an affordable price. Ignite Karting utilizes the spec Margay Ignite K3 with a sealed Briggs & Stratton 206 engine and the Hoosier R80 tire. Everyone in the rookie, junior, senior, heavy, and masters classes compete on the same Ignite K3 chassis, which puts all the emphasis squarely on driver development. Additionally, Ignite Karting is accessible at the local, regional, and national level. Special events for the 2024 season include the Ignite Majors, which began with the annual trip to the Daytona International Speedway in December as part of the WKA Daytona Kart Week as part of both the sprint and road race events. Those in the Midwest can enjoy the regionally based Ignite Challenge, which features 12 races at 6 iconic facilities. Local club programs have also been established in other states all across the country, from Idaho to Texas, Nebraska to New York, with more tracks and clubs joining the Ignite Karting program every year. Be part of fast, fun, and great memories with Margay Racing at an Ignite track near you. All information on Ignite events and Ignite Kart packages, including dealers in your area, are available at ignitekarting.com. Get off the couch and onto the track this year. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion. History, success, family. Those are the 3 words that can describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation located just outside of Indianapolis has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. From full karting packages, new engines, spare or replacement parts, and safety gear, find it all at CometKartSales.com. Their Comet Racing Engine service has won multiple major events and championships over decades of karting and continues to offer the best trackside service in the industry, specializing in IAME X30, IAME Swift, and other two-cycle power plants. Make sure to head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today.
And welcome back to the EKN OutLap. It is episode 73 on June 11th, 2024. I'm David Cole, joined by Nate Dean. We are providing you the preview podcast for the 2024 Superkarts USA Pro Tour Spring Nationals, set for the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, and this show presented by Skip Barber Racing School. We are now into our preview of the categories, and the first class up is Pro X30 presented by Speed Concepts Racing. Nate, we went to Orlando for the Winter Nationals, and it was no surprise to see Ryan Norberg dominate the weekend. The only notch he didn't have was winning the pre-final. Contact there kind of dropped them back a little bit of a flat tire. But he was able to fight back and win the main event, and now comes into the Spring Nationals as the championship leader by 45 points over Rollison Performance Group teammate Hayden Jones.
Yeah, obviously Ryan, home track for him in Orlando, did very, very well, and he's going to be hoping to continue on with that streak. Of course, Orlando is a very tight and technical course, and you can say a lot of the same things for Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. So you have to think him and the Rollison Performance Group Cosmic should go on fairly well here, but a bit of a drop in entries, like we said, but still a very, very star-studded lineup in Pro X30.
Yeah, star-studded lineup that includes both Norberg and Jones. Diego Ramos sitting there, tied with Hayden Jones for second in points. He'll be there. The Brazilian will be there, along with Paulie Massimino, who sits fourth in the championship, 70 points out of the top spot, with a lot of racing left to go and a lot of points to get. Dalton Haynes is fifth in the championship, but is not on the entry list, will not be competing this weekend. So that moves Brandon Carr, the British driver for Trinity Karting Group, up into the fifth spot. So a good diverse group of four different teams in the top five there. When you do factor in Brandon Carr, you can add Austin Garrison, Nicholas Terlecki. Those are kind of the drivers just within 100 points of Ryan Norberg coming into the weekend. So for Carr, Garrison, and Terlecki, they're going to need a lot of work, along with Paulie Massimino, to be able to try and cut into Norberg's advantage going into the weekend. Garrison, we saw with the Speed Concepts Racing entry, he is the championship leader on the USPKS side of things. So he's kind of been the driver that next to maybe Norberg is probably been the most consistent over the 2024 season.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been doing a really, really bang up job over there. And then other drivers, you have to think that will probably be in contention. Brendan Carr, we know, goes really, really well here at MCC. And now that you put him on a Trinity Karting Group, Car Republic, that's their home track, you have to think he is going to be looking for a top step further on in the weekend. Alessandro Tertulio has been quick. We mentioned him. Oliver Hodgson as well for Compkart, coming in and racing for them. Josh Holtz has been very strong. Same with him and Nicholas Terlecki for Holtz driver development on the single speed side of things, whether that be X30 or OKN. Those two have been very, very quick, so I wouldn't be surprised to see either of them battling for top fives and maybe even a podium at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, Terlecki coming off the Stars victory at Newcastle. I believe it was last week, 2 weekends ago. 2 weekends ago from this weekend. So Terlecki's got a little bit of momentum. See if he's going to be able to carry it over. Harley Keeble, the driver for Sodi Racing USA, he'll be the lone driver for the team this weekend, but he was stellar when we came here for USPKS back in, I believe it was August of 2023. That guy, he likes this race course. It was kind of an interesting weekend. with him and a lot of the other drivers. But again, the way the racetrack is laid out, 180-degree corners followed by long straightaways. What do you think that entails, Nate? I believe a little bit of defensive driving. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and I mean, we saw it a lot at SCUSA last year, especially in the X30 categories. But I mean, I think the level of intensity of X30 racing in the past couple of years has really ramped up, especially since last year. So, of course, we're going to be in with a fight for this one.
Yeah, we saw a fight at Trackhouse for USPKS, and again, I think we thought we were going to see a fight in Orlando, but that contact between Norberg and DiTullio kind of separated the field there a little bit, and so we didn't get to quite see the battle we thought we were going to get. But aside from Orlando, I think every race that we've seen with X30 across the country has been very competitive, and a lot of argy-bargy and a lot of guys just getting the elbows up and going at it. And I think the wild card, when you look at this entry list, and you already mentioned him, Oliver Hodgson on the Comp Kart chassis, he's coming in, a former Rotax Grand Finals winner, nearly a SuperNationals winner as well. I think he started on the pole position for Super Sunday. He's going to be the wild card because he's coming in. I don't want to say the word I want to say, but basically, no F's. He's going in for the victory. So that's going to be very interesting to see kind of how that plays out because he's quick everywhere he's gone. So that I think that's going to be an interesting part to it because a lot of these guys are going to be championship focused, and where you look at the rest of the field, he's the only one that's kind of the wild card coming into the weekend. So that'll be fun to watch in terms of that. Nate, anything else on X30 Pro before we move to the next category?
No, just going off of what you said with Hodgson not running as much of a U.S. calendar as the rest of these drivers in the pro classes, but he's been doing very, very well in the couple of entries that he has done in 2024. So it'll be interesting to see where he finishes up come Sunday.
So now let's head into the Pro Shifter presented by PSL Karting with 21 entries. Mateus Morgado, the Brazilian, who just moved over to shifter car ranks here in the U.S. at the beginning of 2024. He was the winner down in Orlando for the inaugural Pro Show and Pro Shifter category. However, not the championship leader. Danny Formal, the four-time SuperNationals winner, is the Pro Shifter championship leader, leading Morgado by 12 points. And as we posted on Friday, that moment between those two, because Formal had it for the majority of the race, Morgado came in late, a little bit of contact through the hairpin, and then even more contact when Formal tried to make a last bold move into the final hairpin corner there after the S's. Made for some interesting fireworks. But again, the drivers respect one another and left it on the racetrack. And but now the story is will we see a rematch heading into Motorsports Country Club for the SpringNationals? As of right now, we are not confirmed if Danny Formal will be racing or not this weekend. We messaged him and everything is still kind of up in the air. He does have his car stuff that he is working on and been doing all season long. So the karting is kind of a secondary program. We do know Marnian Kremers, who did race at the Winter Nationals. This is another story, both racing under the Rawlson Performance Group tent. We do know Kremers is here in the United States. He's been doing driver coaching, not on the entry list. So is it going to be, Nate? We're not sure if they're going to be at track entries or if they're going to both be scratches for this weekend. So that's kind of the story going into the weekend. Yeah,
weird to not. Looking at the entry list quick to have no RPG Cosmics signed up as of now, which is a bit unfortunate. I think I saw something on Formal's story a couple days ago saying that he wouldn't be there. So unofficially official, that announcement. But yeah, weird not to see those RPG Cosmics up there, but you have to think, like you said, Mateus Morgado will obviously be out in front and battling for wins with those drivers that are making appearances yet again.
Yeah, so, Cooper Becklin and Anthony Martella, they were the other drivers with RPG. They're focused on car stuff as well, too. So that's the majority of that. But I still wouldn't be surprised if you do see Kremers be an at-track entry just to kind of stir things up, or if he's just going to focus on the driver coaching that is going to be under the RPG tent. So, well, it'll kind of be a Thursday wait and see kind of scenario with that. So with Formal not on the entry list and not essentially racing this weekend, that puts Morgado in the championship lead ahead of PSL karting teammate Jay Irwin, the Kiwi driver from New Zealand, who put in a podium performance at the Winter Nationals, a third place finish for him, coming off Star's victory in Charlotte and really becoming a rising star in the shifter ranks. So he now trails Morgado by only 28 points going into the weekend. That also, though, allows Jacob Gulig, the near championship winner last year, into the third spot of the championship chase on the GFC, where Gulik finished fourth in the Winter Nationals. Giorgio Carrera not on the entry list as well. He sits fifth. So that bumps up AJ Myers now into the mix. He's only 73 points back of Formal, with a number of drivers on the outside looking in, over 100 points out. That includes Hunter Pickett. What was the other one that I was looking for? Kyle Wick, yes, who recorded a DNF, and Talon Yako, another DNF. So this is going to be interesting how this shapes out, because with Morgado Irwin sitting 1-2 in the championship, you got to be thinking they're going to be all in on championship points. However they can come away with, whether it be just podium results or however, they're not going to be forcing a lot of issues, to where I think a lot of the other drivers who did have DNFs in Orlando, such as Wick and Talon Yako and others, are going to be going gun-ho. But we also have a number of wild cards as well, too, coming into the weekend. Among those, Nate, are the Italkart trio drivers making their first SCUSA start for 2024. I'll give you a quick driver's name, one of them being Remo Ruscitti, the Canadian, along with Mario Gill and Andrew Brun. So they could be spoilers on the weekend as well. So a lot of stuff going on this weekend in pro shifter category.
Yeah, and we don't usually see the Italkarts make, we'll say, regular season appearances outside of the Super Nationals too much. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare there. Just to take a step back on the Burrell Art drivers, you also have Ian Quinn, who's been doing fairly decent at the Stars Championship Series. So you add a third PSL Burrell Art to that mix, you have to think they're going to be pretty strong here with a very strong contingent of drivers.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty good battle. Again, GFC drivers are stacked with Gulik, Wick, Pickett, along with Jonathan Vitello as well. But when you talk about drivers who have a lot of laps around this racetrack, well, you first got to start with Gavin Bailiff. Gavin lives at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Didn't quite have the weekend he wanted to in Orlando. A number of mechanical issues kept him out. So you got to hope, he's got to be hoping, all right, let's just get through all the mechanical issues this weekend, because I think he believes he can be fast. A driver that's been fast at this racetrack and has won is AJ Myers. He won the USPKS event here last year, coming off victory at the Stars Championship event in Newcastle. So AJ Myers kind of he had a lot of rust, I think, in Orlando. Didn't quite have everything the way he wanted. Still came away with a sixth place finish in the main event in Orlando. But I gotta think, he's coming in as maybe one of the favorites coming into the weekend, with the amount of track knowledge that he and the Checkered Motorsports Group, Magic Kart USA operation have of this racetrack. He's gotten the rust shaken off. He seems like he's building up his performance level as the season goes along, Nate. So aside from AJ and Gavin Bailiff, are there any other drivers you think might have a little bit of local knowledge on this racetrack?
I don't know about local knowledge. I mean, Riley Pigram runs their track run series. Been doing uh, all right on their day, so you might have a bit of a advantage going into this one. But obviously, the level and skill of most of these drivers, they'll be able to figure out this track in a fairly quick circumstances. So not many other drivers to add on to what you said. Obviously, the GFC pairings of Wick and Pickett are wicked fast on their days. Same with the Burrell Art drivers, then the Magic Carts. So not one team or driver combination sticking out and going into this one of a favorite. So definitely a storyline to look forward to.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Billy Musgrave, the factory carts driver, he's bringing two drivers, Liam Jones and Matthew McCoy. He was by himself there in Orlando, so now he's got some other drivers to kind of work with and help get caught up on setup real quickly. Again, we'll see what the four-time SuperNationals winner can do in Ohio. Let's move to our next category, K100 Senior, presented by Sodi Racing USA. And there we saw Finnegan Bailiff and Peyton Phillips pick up victories in Orlando. And when we talk about track knowledge, again, Finnegan Bailiff lives at the facility there, coming in as the championship leader in the SCUSA Pro Tour. What better way to do that than to go to your home racetrack for the next event, Nate?
Yeah, there's not much better ways to back that up, especially with, like we've been saying, all the track knowledge they have here. And obviously with the momentum coming off of that big result in Orlando, you have to think that he's definitely going to be a favorite going into this one.
Yeah, so Bailiff leads over Connor Ferris by 19 points heading into the weekend. Again, the semi-pro category is running 2 rounds per weekend. So Bailiff winning round 1 and then Peyton Phillips winning round 2 in Orlando. Phillips currently 4th in the championship chase behind Ohio driver James Overback. So there's some local knowledge as well, too. So you got 2 local drivers in the top 4 of the championship chase. Coming into this weekend. Sitting 5th is Blake Nash. He will not be in Ohio for the event. He's been doing a lot of international racing as well, too. So not on the entry list for K100 Senior this weekend. That puts Eli Warren into the 5th spot in the championships, and he's a Kentucky driver, so not too much local knowledge, but I think he's been to MCC a number of times, and I think he finished 3rd or was a top 5 finisher last year at USPKS. So I think local knowledge is going to help out for a lot of these drivers going in, so that's part of it. But regarding Peyton Phillips, who is, again, the winner in round 2 and sitting 4th in the championship, he's actually moving kart brands. He's moved over to Comp Kart and will be racing with them alongside Cooper Auclair, who will be making his Superkarts USA debut for 2024. So you got Hodgson in X30 and then these 2 bullets in the K100 Senior category. So Comp Kart's coming in for a little bit of a spoiler role in these top categories.
Yeah, nice to see more of their involvement on the, like we said with Italkart, more of the regular season stuff, with them having a lot of representation on the Rotax side of things, but not really seeing them too much regularly in USPKS, SCUSA, or the other main racing series. So really nice to see them. Again, to backtrack on your point on some drivers with local knowledge, Eli Warren, you said it's USPKS having a really good result there and also gained his first major regional national win with the Stars Championship Series last year. So he's obviously going to be one of those favorites on his OTK.
Some other stories in this category: Keegan Kaminsky, the West Coast driver with GFC and Formula Works, coming over to compete in this event, making his SCUSA debut for 2024. It also marks the return of Mario Barrios, who had a nasty wreck in the, I think it was the pre-final or heat races of K100 Senior in Orlando on Saturday. Was left, had to leave in the ambulance due to some injuries, I believe a broken collarbone and some ribs. So that was the issue. So he's made his recovery and is set for his return this weekend with no K100 Master. He's going to be in the KA100 senior category this weekend. So it'll be great to see Mario back trackside in the paddock and competing. Aside from that, Nate, any other stories or drivers you think that will be notable on this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, one, Steven Eisert, who got pole at USPKS for Trackhouse, him and Sodi Racing USA will be there. A few others, Fernando Luque for Supertune, Nash Motorsports with their pairing of Kane Martin and Stephen Miller surely should be up front and challenging for wins. You can't mention Eli Warren without his counterparts of Luke Powers and Vaughn Beasley for War Power Racing. Those three, very, very quick on their day, have been doing good at the Route 66 and Stars races at Newcastle, which they call home. So it'll be interesting to see how they do as they travel to MCC. You talked about it a little bit. Peyton Phillips moving to Comcart should be a very, very interesting one to watch. And then kind of the dark horses going into this weekend for me, Chase Biscaglia and Michael Levitt, both very quick on their day. So it should be fun to see where they stack up.
Yeah, Stephen Miller not at USPKS last month, and so this will be his return to major karting after a little bit of a break. So we'll see if he's got some rust to shake off or not. But I know he was quick in this category back in last year at USPKS and in the junior ranks. So we'll see what he's able to do this weekend coming back. So with that, we'll head into our next commercial break. And when we return, we'll get into X30 Junior, K100 Junior, and Master Shifter.
What brand is known around the world for its innovation and success? It is Superkarts. The Sodi brand returned in full force during the 2023 season thanks to the new exclusive importer, the Karting Distribution, led by industry veteran Terry Germanovich. The French manufacturer Superkarts is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products and services. The Sodi Racing chassis line offers product in classes from mini karts to KZ, all based on years of development and championship seasons around the world. Sodi Racing USA has expanded its dealer network over the last year, bringing the Sodi brand to several local clubs and regional programs. The Sodi Racing USA by PK Sports is the official race team, producing many victories in different levels across the board. And the new Pro Race Academy is designed to cater to the next generation of motor racing, helping boys and girls aiming to make their mark. Visit Sodi-Racing-USA.com to learn more about Superkarts chassis or call 954-634-5111 to become part of the Sodi Racing USA network today. Superkarts, the world leader in the karting industry. Made in the USA. It's not just a statement, it's the mission at Factory Karts of America. Led by four-time Supernats champion Billy Musgrave, Factory Karts manufactures their frames completely in-house at the Riverside, California facility. Built and designed from the ground up specifically for the American karting market, Factory Karts brings new innovations and solutions that are long overdue. Factory Karts bring together the highest quality materials to produce a high-performance, long-lasting kart that has been designed and perfected from 3 years of development, with a focus for a big push across North America in 2023. No other karting manufacturer stands behind its product like Factory Karts does, providing a 2-year warranty on all their frames. Do you remember when American made meant innovative, original, stronger, faster, and just plain better? Well, American made is back. Contact Factory Karts today to join the American made movement. Learn more by visiting factorykarts.com or email Billy anytime at info@factorykarts.com.
Welcome back to the EKN OutLap, our preview podcast for the Superkarts USA Pro Tour Spring Nationals. This show presented by Skip Barber Racing School. I'm David Cole, joined by Nate Dean, as we are now in our second segment for the class previews. We are now getting to X30 Junior, presented by Rollison Performance Group. At only 16 entries, however, we do have two-time winner Diego Ardiles leading the way in the championship, a near sweep on the weekend in Orlando for the Spring Nationals. So he comes in with a hefty 115-point lead over Jackson Wolney, and Sarah Bradley sitting third. You have his Ardiles' RPG Cosmic teammate Victor Dion Carr sitting fourth in the championship, with Nash Motorsports driver Chase Gassat Lee sitting in fifth. Championship wise, I guess, Nate, it's Diego Ardiles is to lose, kind of like very similar to what we saw with Ernesto Rivera last year, where essentially he was the driver to beat all season long in the junior ranks. So right now it's Ardiles leading the way in X30 Junior, and so he's going to be the driver everybody's going to be watching, I think, all weekend long.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been the driver to watch in junior competition this year, along with Enzo Vidmontien, who's been doing very good on the USPCAS side of things. Kind of lacked a little bit in Orlando, but he'll obviously be wanting to make up some ground on Diego this weekend. But like you said, the top five in points have some very talented drivers. Jackson Wolney, Sarah Bradley, the Speed Concepts Racing duo should be there on Diego Ardiles. We know Jackson Wolney goes very, very well here at MCC. Victor Day Alencar has been a driver who has really jumped onto the scene in terms of at least what I've seen this year for Rolson Performance Group. He's been very, very impressive, and was in the fight for the win in Orlando, but just couldn't get it done on the old master of Ardiles. And then Chase Gassat Lee for Nash has been super impressive as well. Other names to put in there: Turner Brown, who did not have a very good Orlando karting center trip for him at the first two rounds of the Pro Tour. He's obviously going to be wanting to bounce back from that. And then you have to talk about Alexander Vanchev with his fairly recent move to Sodi Racing USA. Should be interesting to see what he can do. And then obviously Ty Fisher has been very, very impressive this season for Race Lab and TB Kart. We'll be watching those guys battle it out up front this weekend.
Yeah, so Vidmontien making his return to X30 Junior competition and SCUSA events, was not racing this category in Orlando. So this will be his debut in this category for 2024, coming off, as we said, a victory and driver of the month honor in month of May after the USPKS Trackhouse event. But yeah, it is a weekend of redemption for Turner Brown, who had both of his main events in Orlando come to a close in the final couple of corners with contact. So it's certainly a weekend of redemption for him, and then a weekend of trying to extend the championship for Diego Ardiles. With that, we'll head into K100 Junior, presented by Nash Motorsports. Again, at a total of 41 entries coming into the weekend. It's the largest category. In Orlando, we saw Enzo Vidmontien and Diego Ardiles split the victories for the Winter Nationals event there in Orlando at the Orlando Kart Center. They are the top two drivers in the championship chase heading into the weekend, with Vidmontien on top of Ardiles by 30 points. So right now, they are the two championship drivers to beat coming into the weekend. Jackson Wolney sitting third, 92 points back. Had one podium in Orlando over the two rounds. Same with Ty Fisher, who is 93 points back, sitting fourth in the championship chase. And then Turner Brown, who in the K Junior category was not able to be on the podium there at the end, having finishes of fourth and fifth on the weekend. So two top five finishes puts him fifth in the championship, 131 points back of Vidmontien. So those are essentially the five top drivers coming into the weekend, especially in the championship. But there is a lot of other drivers coming in that can be certainly battling for podium and victories on the weekend, Nate. Who are right now, aside from those five, some of your top contenders heading into the weekend?
I mean, we pretty much talked about all of them when we talked about X30 Junior. So some of the drivers not running that class but are running K. You have to think of Nathan Dupuis for Supertune. He's been gaining the momentum throughout the year, and it seems like a really credible threat for a podium or a win this time out. Isaac Malcutt is one of the quickest junior drivers in the nation for Zanella Racing and Kart Republic this weekend. He is going to be a quick driver this weekend. You have to think about that with I believe 2 K100 junior wins to his name this year. Max Weiland for Magic Kart has had a strong 2024 campaign thus far. He should be in that top 10 and maybe a top 5 fight. And then Peyton Westcott for Rolson Performance Group on her Cosmic Kart has been, again, like Max, strong in 2024 and looking for a podium or a win this weekend.
Yeah, she's still looking for her first major win. She's got wins at the California Pro Kart Challenge this year. So looking to get a win in SCUSA Pro Tour competition moving forward. You also got to mention the West Coast drivers, aside from Westcott coming over, and a lot of them under the GFC Formula Works tent. You got to include Jackson Young. I'm trying to find the other names real quick. I lost them. Matthew Cagle. Luca Popescu, and there was one other driver. Nico Serfati, of course. Nico Serfati, the Challenge of the Americas champion for 2024 in this category. So, again, 41 drivers, a lot of them. You could probably say about 20 drivers in contention for a podium or victory on the weekend heading into Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. With that, we'll head into the Master Shifter presented by Fury Motorsport and GP USA. The entry rises up to 11 drivers this weekend, and it is a pretty stacked roster when you look at Master Shifter competition here in the United States. You have Scott Sketchy Barnes, who picked up a victory in round 1, and Yao Carlos Frignosi, the winner in round 2 after a DQ to Joe Rook. So he picked up the win in round 2. Essentially, the championship is kind of askew, with Barnes being the more consistent driver over the 2 rounds. We saw a lot of chaos on the Sunday round in Orlando, including the DQ to Joe Rook. So you got Barnes leading the championship by 56 points over Juan Pablo Rico, who is not on the entry list, along with Luis Quinones, another driver not on the entry list. So the top second and third drivers in the championship not in attendance for Motorsports Country Club. That puts Michael Gouache into the second spot in the championship, 104 points back, with Ken Schilling now sitting in third in the championship chase. So basically, this weekend is about what Joe Rook can do. He sits 7th, 172 points out of the championship lead. Was credited, I guess it was round 1 that he. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think it was round 1 that he had the victory taken away. But either way, he sits 7th overall in the championship, but he's 172 points back. So it's a matter of how many points he can make up over these next 4 rounds, including 2 in Ohio. So championship wise, that's kind of the story, Nate, going into the weekend. But we got a number of drivers who are going to be making their 2024 SCUSA debut this week in Ohio.
Yeah, of course. The one that stuck out to me, Larry Pegram for Trinity Karting Group, the Ohio native, and like we said earlier on, with the drivers that run here on the in their club program, they should have a bit of an upper hand going into this weekend. So, the Scott Sketchy Barnes is obviously going to be one to look out for. He's been one of the stronger Master Shifter drivers for the past few years, really, at this point. So you have to think he'll be up there as well. But really, the only one that stuck out to me that you didn't already mention was Larry. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes on.
Yeah, John Crow, a SCUSA Pro Tour champion. He's going to be making his debut this weekend with Factory Karts. He was a contender all of the Summer Nationals last year, again, in a one-off. So I guess this is going to be a 2-off for him, because I'm going to assume he's going to be at Newcastle when we get there next month, unless there's a scheduling conflict for him. So Crow Show coming back. But also the SCUSA Pro Tour defending champion, Luis A. Quinones with Factory Karts. He had a rough Orlando weekend, just couldn't get anything right. Did land up on the podium in third place on Sunday after all of that said was done. So for him, he is looking to gain points along with Joe Rook. So those two drivers coming up. And then you already mentioned Pegram. Aside from that, yeah, the rest of it, it's going to be a good battle. Oh, Mike Rivera, that was the other one, a GFC driver for Rivera Racing, making his SCUSA debut as well too. So a lot of names, a lot of different brands in this category that are going to be battling it up all weekend long. So it'd be a good one to watch. With that, let's head into our final commercial break. And when we return, we'll get into Mini Swift and Micro Swift after these messages.
Since 1933, DID has been designing and manufacturing high-quality chains that are chosen and utilized by the world's best power sports athletes and is the winningest chain brand in the industry. From the hairpin turns of MotoGP to the local circle track and everywhere in between, DID has a chain offering for all level of power sports, and they are designed to outlast and outperform the competition. DID's kart chain lineup offers variations of chains, from high-performance sealed chains to the industry-leading non-sealed 219 HTZ chain. The DID SDH pin treatment is the unique design that allows for a lighter chain for less rotational mass, yet still keeping a high tensile strength for peak performance. DID also offers various levels of 4-pitch and 5-pitch chains to fit your drive chain needs. With over 90 years of experience, stay driven with DID. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history in motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level of track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of race day. Be sure to follow Briggs & Stratton Racing on Facebook and through @RaceBriggs on Instagram. To learn more about the 206 engine or to find the North American dealer near you, head to BriggsRacing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing, what powers you?
And welcome back to the final segment of the EKN OutLap, presented by Skip Barber Racing School, episode 73, as we are previewing the Superkarts USA Pro Tour Spring Nationals at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati coming up this weekend. We are now into Mini Swift, presented by Trinity Karting Group. Mini Swift has a number of 34 drivers entered for this weekend, including both winners. No, just the one winner. No, both winners. Sorry. Yes, I got that right. Both winners from the Winter Nationals in Orlando, Lorenzo Varela and Royce Vega, coming back to see if they can repeat victories in Orlando here this weekend in Ohio. Unfortunately, championship leader Alessandro Truchot, who was able to get a solid weekend in Orlando at the opening round for the Pro Tour Championship with a third and a second place finish. He will not be in Ohio this weekend, so relinquishes the top spot in the championship. That'll go to Royce Vega, who now sits in the championship lead ahead of Troy Ferguson. Rocco Simoni now sitting there in third with, Marco Samet in fourth, and Varela, the round one winner, now sitting fifth in the championship. So basically about 100 points separating the top five coming into the weekend. So Nate, the big story, Alessandro Truchot, championship leader, not going to be in Ohio.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to see whenever a championship leader can't make it to the next race for them to defend the pace that they had at the earlier rounds, but fortunately for us, still a very, very stacked field of mini Swift drivers, like some of the ones that you listed off there, at least on my radar. Just to list off a couple: Trinity Karting Group driver Josh Bergman. You always have to mention the TKG KRs whenever you come to MCC for obvious reasons. Some drivers that have really started to push themselves towards the front of the field in the past couple of months: Grayson Walcott for Pole Position Motorsports, and Parolin should be up there and fairly quick. Valentino Santian for Sodi Racing USA has had a very, very impressive 2024 season. And then Nico Katowski, also on the Sodi kart for J&M Racing, has been one to keep an eye out. He got the win in Mini Swift in Route 66 competition at Newcastle Motorsports Park and has been doing very, very well at the national scene since then. So it'll be interesting to see where those guys get themselves into come Sunday.
Yeah, Ashton Woon, the USPKS championship leader in the Mini Swift category under Super Tune on the Parolin. He'll be in Ohio along with Nico Orbezo under the Ralston Performance Group tent. And then Braden Wagner representing the West Coast drivers under the Formula Works GFC tent. Those are some notable names that will be there that you didn't mention. Maxwell Macha, the Micro Swift champion from last year, still in his rookie season in the Mini Swift category. He will be there as well too. So a pretty solid field for the Mini Swift category. Now we head into the Micro Swift division presented by J&M Racing. At 26 entries, we have Zane Burgess and Santiago Orioli coming through as winners at the Winter Nationals in Orlando. And they will sit 1-2 in the championship chase coming into the weekend, separated by 56 points. You have Luca I can't say his name again. I forgot how to say it. I knew it and I forgot it. Bursello. Sound it out, Dave.
I remember hearing it at USPKS multiple times and just completely blanking on it. But
See, I'm blanking on it now too.
Yeah.
Sir. Yep. Can't do it.
Luca.
Sorry. Luca, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're sitting fourth in the championship, 141 points back with Win Godshock in fourth, and Marina Brandio fifth, 172 points back. All five of those drivers on the entry list coming in. So they will be among the 26 drivers battling this weekend. Certainly a notable thing is Santiago Orioli coming off an arm injury he suffered a couple weeks back. So when we get trackside, we'll have to get an update on his health, where he's at in the recovery process, and if he'll be able to handle racing this weekend with the injury as it is. So that's kind of the story going into the weekend. Nate, who are some notables to watch for on the weekend?
Yeah, just quickly talking about Santi, obviously coming off that injury and then having to race karts, which isn't obviously the easiest thing to do with a broken part of your body, and then B and C points being MCC, which is a very physical circuit in some hot Ohio sun, is going to be really hard for the MPG Motorsports driver, but we hope we see him on track and battling up front. Other drivers, Win Godshock, who's been very impressive on the national scene, especially at TSRS. Cameron Johnson has put himself to the forefront of the Micro Swift field, got himself on pole for the Sunday main event at Trackhouse. And Dutch Westbrook for Team Bennick from Texas, another TSRS faithful there in Micro Swift for this weekend, should be the ones to watch out for, at least on my list.
Well, sounds good, Nate. Yeah, those were on my list as well too. So that essentially wraps up our show. Again, be sure to follow EKN during the 2024 Superkarts USA Pro Tour Spring Nationals, and follow us on all the social media platforms. Hashtag EKN at SCUSA, hashtag SCUSA, hashtag SCUSA Pro Tour, and hashtag SpringNats 2024. Make sure you listen online at ekartingnews.com/live. or ekartingnews.com/radio, or through the EKN Radio Network app that you have on your phone or a mobile device. So with that, Nate, any final words as we wrap up our show?
I envy that you get to go to a racetrack this weekend. I do not envy the weather, so I wish you the best of luck on that.
Yeah, it's going to be about staying cool in the MCC clubhouse. That's probably where I'm going to set up shop with how hot it's going to be. I tried the garage last year in August, and it got pretty warm in there. And I'm getting older. I got to stay cool. I can't overheat myself. But the way the schedule is, it should be fairly good. Not a lot of, the Saturday at USPCast can be a lot of work, but SCUSA, we got the pre-finals and finals. So on the racetrack about 16 times a day rather than 30 for USPCast. So it'll be a little bit easier, but yeah, not looking forward to sweating my butt off on Sunday, because that's what the weather forecast is forecasted to be. So we'll have to see if that changes, or, thankfully, knock on wood, we are pretty good on the precipitation side of things. So that'll be good. I'm hoping that the racetrack doesn't get any rain this weekend, because that was one of the things we had last year with a lot of cars sinking in the mud, and it just the moisture in the ground rising up through the air just made it even more humid than what it really felt like. So yeah, so with that, I hope to survive the weather this weekend, and I'm excited to see the Superkarts USA heading to the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati for the first time. So a historic weekend ahead as we reach the halfway point of the SCUSA Pro Tour Championship. So with that, thank you for tuning in. For Nate Dean, I am David Cole. Until next time.